Welcome to Soul Study, the podcast where we explore personal growth, spirituality, and the deeper questions of what it means to consciously create a life we love. Think of this as your weekly book club for the soul. Each episode will study powerful ideas from transformative books, reflect how they apply to real life, and gently challenge ourselves to grow together. This isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. It's about remembering that you are energy, you are powerful, and you are always in a state of creation. Here, we take what resonates and leave the rest. So take a breath, open your heart, and get ready to become your most magnetic self. Let's begin today's Soul Study. Hello everyone, Jules here, and welcome back to Soul Study, the podcast to help you become the happiest, healthiest, most magnetic version of you. So, last week we dove right into the first agreement in our book, The 4 Agreements. So our first agreement was to be impeccable with your word. So we talked about what that meant and how you can apply that into your everyday life. So our soul study last week was also victor mindset. So tell me how that went for you if you were able to look at things from a victor's point of view versus a victim point of view, that you called in everything into your life. I have just been practicing this already every single day. So doing it more was just great, because I was like, oh shoot, these negative things I did call into my life, and these positive things I've also called into my life. But I have noticed that the more that I have been working on myself, it is more so the positive things that are coming into my life, more so than negative ones. Today, we're getting right into chapter 3, which is the second agreement. And that agreement is going to be don't take anything personally. And let me tell you, I think this one is the hardest out of all the 4 agreements. So if you're ready to learn more about how to not take things personally and what does that mean, let's dive on into chapter 3. Our first quote is going to be on page 48 today. And it says, when we take something personally, we make the assumption that they know what is in our world, and we try to impose our world on their world. We start to realize within this quote that people only make statements and do actions based on what they've experienced in their world, in their point of view, in their life. So if someone feels a specific way about you, it's not because of you, but because of them and what they've experienced. I've heard this from a lot of different places, but it goes along with the saying of you may be an angel in someone's story and a villain in someone else's. It's kind of that way, where it's like based off of that person's worldview, you might be a completely different person to them versus someone else. By not taking anything personally, you are accepting your own worldview, and you're not putting your worldview on anybody else as well. So you're not accepting their worldview. You're not pushing your worldview onto them. You are content in what your worldview is, which is not saying that you should be closed-minded. What it is saying is that you are content within yourself, that you feel happy and open and willing to learn and have empathy, but you're still not like imposing what you think is best onto other people. And when we do take something personally, we are making the assumption that they know what's going on in our world. And that could not be true. Because when we assume when someone does something, it means this without like asking them for clarification first, we are putting whatever it is they did or they said into our worldview and not taking it from the perspective of like what they actually meant. So when we are assuming and we're taking something personally that may have not been the case, it's because we're just assuming it based off of our personal experience and not what they actually meant. Now, with not taking anything personally, it means that if you are insulted, if you are praised, it doesn't affect you. So positively and negatively, when someone is telling you something and you want to take it personally, whether that's a compliment or an insult, that means that you don't take it personally because you know who you are, which kind of feels weird. And when I was reading this, I was a little bit confused because and how I've seen this in my life is that like I am a recovering people pleaser still. And so I think that is why this is one of the hardest agreements for me, because what it is telling me is that even when people tell me I do a good job, most of the time when people tell you like, wow, like you did a good job, it's not because, and like this isn't always true, but Praises sometimes are not for your benefit, but for theirs because they want you to keep doing something. Does that make sense? Now, it's completely different if a friend comes up to you and is like, you worked on a piece of art and they were like, wow, you did really good. But also, like, they're saying that you shouldn't even be taking that personally either, which I don't know if I like 100% agree with, because I feel like a friend like sharing their love by giving you a compliment is more of like something that you should be able to receive rather than like not take in a personal way. So that would be my question for the author is like, well, what if someone is exchanging a compliment out of love? So that's why I'm saying we take what resonates, we leave the rest. In this book, I will say I agree with most of it. There are certain things where I'm like, I don't know if like that 100% resonates with me, but like I say, we take what resonates and leave the rest. As a recovering people pleaser, it is really hard for me to not want to gain praise and like go out of my way for praise. And it also is hard for me to accept when people don't like me because I put up a boundary or something and people suddenly don't like me. That was my worst fear. My worst fear was rejection. My worst fear was getting in trouble by someone else. But now that I am confident in myself and I have been doing this work, this concept specifically with not taking anything personally has really helped me fight those people-pleasing habits. We don't have to accept what they believe in their world as true as what we believe in our world. So when we take something personally, we are taking on their world's point of view and giving up part of our own world point of view, especially if it's in the negative sense. So staying true with who you are and not taking anything personally is a hard agreement, and one that I think really should be looked into a little bit more, and one that I am still looking into myself. But I think that when you don't take things personally, it gives you more control over your own life. That's what I feel like. Now, what you can start doing is like notice when people make statements at you or to you, like see how you feel. Like, are you taking them personally? Like, if someone says something negative about you, is it like destroying your whole day? Or even if someone says something nice about you, like, are you only feeling good about yourself because someone else says that you're good? Or do you feel good about yourself because you know who you are? So look into that. That's all I really have to say about the first quote. So let's move on to the second quote. I only pulled 3 quotes because it was a shorter chapter. The second quote will be on page 50. It says, "Whatever you feel and do is just a projection of your own personal dream, a reflection of your own agreements." So this is true for you and this is true for everybody else. And I think I've already stated this before. Whatever you do, whatever anybody does is based off of their life experience and their beliefs and agreements. When you find yourself reacting in a way that puts others down, or even when you're lifting others up, it's based off of your own version of reality, like whatever you think is real. And that might be completely different for the other person. Like we said in the last one, your beliefs and your agreements, even though the feelings behind them are valid, the belief itself may not be true. We're kind of just continuing on with what we learned last week. And this also kind of shows that we are all really living in our own worlds. Like someone else may be living in a completely different world than we are, even though we're all on planet Earth. We're all experiencing life in this time period together. But how you are experiencing the world could be completely different how somebody else is experiencing the world. And that comes from your own personal dreams and your agreements and beliefs. So our beliefs, our agreements are what are determining our words and actions. We have the power when we don't take things personally to act in a way that is aligned with our best interest, which is aligned with our highest vibrational self. When we decide we are not going to take things personally, that allows us control on how we're going to react to words or situations. Now, where I find it the hardest to not take things personally is specifically in my relationship. Specifically my relationship with my partner, but like even with my relationships with my parents or my siblings, because these are the people I love the most. And these are people that I want to understand me. And in turn, sometimes when they do something from where in my perspective, it hurts or it makes me feel frustrated or it triggers a part of me that I need to work on and fix, then I am realizing that I am taking those things personally because I start feeling a certain way. And that might not even be what they were trying to do. In their worldview, that might not mean anything at all. And so I really do find it the hardest within my relationships, but it also has helped me look at my words and actions like to my partner, have been like, oh my gosh, like when he did this or when he said this, like, let me think about it from his perspective and his worldview. Because from my perspective, my belief might not be true about this. So let me flip the script and look at it another way. This agreement specifically has also helped me a lot with not reacting and choosing to respond versus react. Because if I take it personally, that's usually when the reaction comes in. Whereas if I don't take it personally, it gives me time to process and think about it and actually choose my response to the situation or to the words. Now, I have seen this really in my life, and I have actually had the universe give me an amazing example of how to not take things personally with being in the industry that I'm in, and specifically one of the bosses that I've had in the entertainment industry. Because in this example, she would talk to me about things that like we needed to work on as a group, but she's very passionate, and passion sometimes can like feel like anger, especially if someone's like, we have to do this, like, like you got to do this, you got to do that. And especially in this scenario, because it's a group of us, I'm in a dance troupe for this boss, and she would always say these things and go on these like, I don't want to say rants, but she would always like give these speeches about like what we needed to change and improve on. And she would always look right at me and like speak these words to me. Whereas what she was saying, I know is not actually directed towards me because I'm either not on stage during the part she's talking about or don't even do the things that she is talking about. So I know even though she's looking right at me and like directing the words to me, even though I'm within a group and like the other girls are hearing it, but she's just like looking at me, I actually know it's not meant for me. And if I take it personally, like I would maybe start even arguing with her and being like, girl, like, that's not me. Like I could get really frustrated and annoyed. And like, the thing is, I am not in trouble. Like she's not calling me out. She's just like directing the conversation. Like she's just looking at me. And maybe from her perspective, she's looking at me because she feels comfortable and confident to talk to me compared to the other girls. I don't know what her perspective is. All I know is that I don't need to take that passion and what I felt at first was aggression, where I've realized now after a couple of years that it is not. It is just passion. But that has taught me how to not take things personally, even though it kind of feels like it's something directed at me. And even if it was something directed at me, I don't have to take that personally. If it's a mistake I made, I can choose to fix it without taking it personally. That has been something that I've seen in my real life that has helped me with this concept. Now, for you, like look at the actions and words you choose in your life. Like when you take things personally, like what beliefs or agreements have been triggered when you take things personally. And let's move on to quote number 3. It's on page 58. I kind of smushed 2 quotes together for this one, but it says, if someone is not treating you with love and respect, it is a gift if they walk away from you. Walking away may hurt for a while, but your heart will eventually heal. Now, I will say this is a little less about the agreement specifically, and a little bit more about what can happen when you start getting into this work. The thing is, when you start doing this work, you're going to lose people. You're no longer going to be the person that you once were because you are going to start rewiring your habits, patterns, and behaviors. And the people closest to you are going to start to notice. They're going to be like, oh, they're not responding the way they usually do to this. Or, oh, they have set some boundaries that they've never set before. And maybe I need to stop doing this because it makes them uncomfortable and they've never told me that before. So once you start doing this work, you're going to be more confident in yourself. You're going to know more about what you believe in. You're going to be setting your own boundaries for what is okay with you and what is not okay with you. So the ones who respect, love, and encourage your growth are going to be the ones that you keep around. But you're also going to notice the people who start disrespecting you, say you've changed in a bad way, and get angry when you're setting up boundaries or no longer reacting to them in the way that you used to. This is really going to show you who are the people that are more so using you because you are giving them something more than what they are giving you. You're also going to see and start to realize who is bringing out the worst in you and who is bringing out the best in you. Is there a friend, a partner? Is there someone that you hang out around and you feel like you're always your worst self around them, or you shouldn't have done that, or you always argue and you don't like how you feel as a person when you're around them, even if you love them? Like, you're going to start noticing that and you're going to be like, wow, maybe I need to walk away from them. Or you'll notice that they walk away from you. And instead of going back to them, look and see if that really is what is aligned with you. Are they helping encourage you to become your happiest, healthiest, most magnetic self? Or are they not? Are they disrespecting you? Like, you're going to start to see these things happen. And like I said, this kind of goes along with taking things personally, because when you stop taking things personally, it means you might stop reacting. And people are going to notice. And that's where this comes in, where you might start losing people. Now, don't get me wrong. Walking away from people is hard, especially if you love them. But if they're not respecting you and your growth, they don't deserve to have you intimately in their life. Now, this doesn't mean we wipe our hands completely clean, we don't give a fuck, and we just walk away. What this means is that we no longer physically, probably, be around them, and we politely say goodbye. But we can still love people from afar and wish them well and hope the best for them. Walking away from those people is out of respect for yourself. You're learning how to respect yourself, and it's not disrespecting them, especially if you walk away giving them peace, love, and joy. If it is helping you by walking away from this person gain more peace, love, and joy into your life, then it is a necessity for you to make those boundaries, make those barriers, walk away, and send them on with love. I have seen this in my life because I have had to walk away from friendships that were tearing me down. I've also had to walk away from people that I loved because they did not respect my boundaries. And I also noticed when I did set up boundaries that some friends that I had really did not like that. And they thought I was either being a buzzkill or that I've changed. They don't want to hang around me anymore. And also, we might have just grown apart. Like, they went and did their own thing. I did my own thing. And that was just because it was naturally time for that to be so. There are friends that are supposed to be with you for a season of your life, to teach you lessons, to help you grow. And also you help them grow. So just because someone is leaving your life, or you're walking away from someone in your life, that doesn't necessarily have to be a devastating thing, especially if it's for your own peace, love, and joy and growth. And honestly, like, I've been doing this work for a hot sec, and unfortunately, especially due to the situations that happened with my family, I've gotten really good at letting go of people with love. Like, that's really the key. It's like, you got to send them off with love, but like, the thing is, it's like, I am not going to sacrifice my light, my boundaries, my peace, my love, or my joy for your convenience. If any of that stuff that makes me feel the best I am and makes me like light up and grow and feel like I'm living in my purpose, if you have something to say about that and you're like, hey, no, like, that makes me uncomfortable, like, you shouldn't do that, then okay, then maybe we shouldn't be friends if it makes you uncomfortable, me being my best self. And being your best self, again, is not hurting others or yourself. Being your best self is edifying, uplifting, and encouraging people. Side note, this came up, I was talking to a friend yesterday, actually, and this came up, and I actually think that this is just good general advice, especially when you are dealing with walking away from people or people walking away from you because you are growing and finding your spiritual path. Sometimes people will, also this is just for anyone in general, even if you're not a spiritual person or going down a spiritual path, within a relationship specifically, we talked about how if someone did something that hurt you and they said, my intention was not to hurt you, but they knew that doing the thing would hurt you, they are intentionally hurting you. Let me rephrase it just so it makes sense. If someone in their brain goes, oh, I want to do this, but I know if I do it, it's going to hurt this person really badly, but I'm going to do it anyway because I want to and not tell them. If they find out and also get hurt by it, but then the person goes, my intention wasn't to hurt you, but they knew already that if they did it, it was going to hurt you. Yes, their intention was to hurt you, even though they say it's not, because they chose to do the thing that would hurt you anyway. I don't know who needs to hear that, but if that's happening to you with someone, either A, you got to have a deep talk with them and maybe go to therapy, or B, it's time to walk away. Those are the two options. If you want to be healthy, option number 3 is just keep doing that whole cycle thing and you're just going to feel a lot of pain. But we don't want to go for option number 3. So one of those first two, do that. That's a little side note, but I thought it was relevant to this. So for yourself, for this quote specifically about people walking away or you walking away from people, be aware as you do this work that the universe is going to show you who you need to be around and who you don't. It doesn't mean to give up when things get hard, but you'll start to see who respects your boundaries and who doesn't. Once again, this doesn't mean if you and your partner are having a fight, just like a regular fight, this doesn't mean to give up as soon as you have the fight. Now, if you have the fight and you talk about it and you learn from their perspective, they learn from your perspective, and there's a healthy communication and resolvement there, then yeah, put in a little bit of work to make the relationship work. But if this is the 15th time that this situation has come up and you have talked about it and they are still disrespecting you, then it's the time to walk away. So this doesn't mean to give up immediately. This means to recognize when it is time to walk away. And that is all the quotes that we have for today. Just those 3. It was a little bit shorter episode today, but it was a shorter chapter. And I think that this agreement is one of the hardest. So we're going to take this week to really start experimenting with not taking things personally. To recap, what we learned today was to not take things personally, which was the second agreement. This is a hard one, and I will always probably have to remind myself of this. So let's move on to our journal prompts and our new soul study challenge for the week. Journal prompt number 1. Think of a recent moment where something someone said or did got under your skin. What story did you tell yourself about what it meant? Knowing that their words came from their world and their agreements, not yours, how does that shift the way you see the situation? Journal prompt number 2. Think about a time you reacted strongly to someone, either defensively or by trying to fix how they saw you. What belief or agreement inside of you was triggered in that moment? What does that reaction reveal about something you might still be healing within yourself? Journal prompt number 3. Is there someone in your life who consistently doesn't respect your growth, your boundaries, or your peace? You don't have to make any decisions right now. Just write honestly about how that relationship makes you feel and what it would mean to release it with love rather than resentment. Kind of deep, but 3 journal prompts for the week. Now, let's get over to our weekly soul challenge. Okay, let's give our soul challenge a spin. Okay, guys, we got guilt-free relaxation. And if you may have noticed, there are more soul challenges. If you're watching the video podcast, there are more soul challenges on there. I decided for each book, we are going to add about however many new challenges I feel like seems fit. I think I added 10 more. Did I? 2, 3, 4, 5. I added 11 more challenges. So for each new book, I'm going to be adding about 10 more challenges onto the wheel. So let me tell you guys about what guilt-free relaxation is. It's kind of in the name. Guilt-free relaxation is rest without guilt for one evening as an act of honoring your capacity that day. And this is perfect because this coming week, I am going to be back home visiting my family in California and throwing an awesome party with my friends, which over here on the ground back there's some arts and crafts that I'm working on for that party. It's a Skyrim theme party, so it's going to be really fun. And with that being said, because I am going to be out of town for about 10 days, I am going to pre-record about the next 1 to 2 podcasts. So for the soul challenges, I will have to do those. I will have to catch up on those. But I will make sure that there is one for you guys, even if I am not doing it that week because I'm pre-recording it. But I will let you guys know if it is a pre-recorded episode. Once again, if you guys want to watch the video podcast, be sure to go onto YouTube at Dream Life Jewels and look under Soul Study. If you want to listen to the podcast, Soul Study is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Podcasts as well. So you can follow it there if you'd like to listen in the car. And don't forget, if you still don't have that book, link is in the description below if you want to buy the 4 agreements and highlight it and take notes for yourself. There is a physical copy link down there, but there's also an audiobook copy link down there as well if you want to get one of those. If you want to see anything else from me, remember you can follow me on YouTube or Instagram at Dream Life Jewels. I would love to connect with you guys there, show you guys what I got going on in my life, and maybe talk about some of these fun, woo-woo, magnetic, life-changing things that we're talking about. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Take what resonates, leave the rest, and I hope you have an amazing week becoming your happiest, healthiest, most magnetic self. And until next time, bye.